And welcome to Rob Schmitt Tonight. Hi, everybody. I'm Bianca Garza, in for Rob, who at this moment is in Venezuela. He's been speaking with locals, hearing their perspective on the changes in their country after former President Maduro's capture 1 month ago. We'll have much more on that with Rob and our CEO, Chris Ruddy, a bit later. But first, Minneapolis, where radical agitators are doing everything they can to try and overwhelm the system and sabotage all the progress of the Trump administration. Agitators are now setting up checkpoints across the city as a way to track federal agents. They're creating barricades to flag down vehicles in an attempt to keep ICE agents out of the city. But here is a moment. An unidentifiable agitator stopping a car to ask if that driver, an American, was part of ICE before letting him through.
Looks like in our system, your plates came up as an ICE plate. That doesn't seem like it's the case, but I just wanted to come through and see what was up and talk to you, see how you were doing.
The journalist who captured this footage, Jorge Ventura, tried to find out how that group was able to scan plates and identify vehicles, but got no answer. It is the latest move by these radical agitators to disrupt ICE agents doing their jobs. Ironic, though, that in their attempt to protest ICE, they're doing the exact same thing ICE would do, securing a border and monitoring who comes and who goes. Now, the Department of Justice has announced arrests of more than 150 agitators since Operation Metro Surge kicked off in Minnesota, including arrests of some of those who stormed the St. Paul Church a few weeks ago and others who blocked, assaulted, or attempted to restrict ICE officers throughout the state. And some of these charges can get years in prison. Now, one of those arrested, a self-identified Antifa member. Here he is, Kyle Wagner, accused of not only threatening to kill ICE agents and stalking them online. Wagner allegedly also urging others to hunt down and kill ICE agents, describing the effort as kill or be killed. Just where would he have gotten that kind of idea?
We're at an extraordinary moment. You know, I never thought we'd see secret police in America.
ICE is looking more and more like an American Gestapo.
They've seen the kind of fascist ICE Gestapo militias go round up Latino American citizens.
Secret police who are masked, who are intimidating, who are scaring people.
This rhetoric from Democrats and the media inspiring more than just these extremists, though, in Minneapolis. It is a full-fledged epidemic of violence. A Maryland man is arrested and is now facing attempted murder charges after he showed up outside the house of Office and Management and Budget Director Russ Vought, claiming he, quote, feared Trump's re-election would lead to a fascist takeover. Words we have heard on repeat from Democrats. Words they have never denounced either, egging on the most radical edges of their base. Instead, now they throw up their full support behind it, attempting to build up some kind of radical revolution and convince people that these criminal, illegal aliens are the ones in need of protecting, not the Americans they represent. And get this, prosecutors in Minneapolis, folks, now claiming ICE cases are sidelining, quote, pressing priorities. Justice Department attorneys are emphasizing that the crushing burden caused by immigration cases has led U.S. attorneys' offices to shift resources away from other critical priorities, including criminal matters. But that's exactly what is happening. ICE is prioritizing criminal matters. Take a look. Here are some of the people that the Democrats are so desperately fighting for. Some of the arrests in Minneapolis include Somali criminal illegal Mahfouz Youssef, a convicted sex offender who's charged with assault and obstructing police. Josias Nathaniel Carmona Pena, pending felony charges of a lewd act with a child whose detainment inspired agitators to ram a vehicle into ICE agents. And Luis Gutierrez, a suspected member of Tren de Aragua who resisted arrest by ramming an officer's vehicle into a tree. That is who Trump is taking off the streets. But yet, this is how the mayor of a city 1,000 miles away puts it. Here's Socialist New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani.
Across this country, day after day, we bear witness to cruelty that staggers the conscience. Masked agents, paid by our own tax dollars, violate the Constitution and visit terror upon our neighbors. They arrive as if atop a pale horse, and they leave a path of wreckage in their wake. ICE is more than a rogue agency. It is a manifestation of the abuse of power.
Chad Wolf, former acting DHS secretary, joining us this Friday. Chad, it's great to have you. So we have Wagner, who claims to be Antifa, finding out his social clips have consequences. But I really want to know, what do you think is going to take to have a chilling effect on those chaos agents who think they run the streets? Chad, there's reports that there are even more checkpoints set up for this weekend in Minneapolis.
Well, what it's going to take is actually local police and local leaders doing their job. I mean, the checkpoints are a joke, right? I mean, it's not as though they're going to stop ICE from going into a neighborhood. ICE would simply just get out of the car and arrest these individuals. So the only people that they're inconveniencing, stopping, harassing are the residents in that community. And so, you know, obviously the mayor and others need to figure out how to do their job, and get these folks out of the street. It's ridiculous. And then, of course, the mayor of New York City, I don't even know what he's saying. I'm not really sure he knows what he's saying either, other than they're going to stop cooperation with ICE. And so in an ironic twist, it's going to require more ICE agents into the neighborhoods of New York instead of going into a jail setting.
I want to play one more clip, in fact, from Mandami's speech today. Let's listen to this one.
And I consider my own faith, Islam, a religion built upon a narrative of migration. The story of the Hijrah reminds us that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a stranger too, who fled Mecca and was welcomed in Medina. Surah An-Nahl 1642 tells us, as for those who immigrated in the cause of Allah after being persecuted, we will surely bless them with a good home in this world.
Oh, what's your reaction to that right there?
Yeah, again, I'm not sure where to start. Sort of thanks for the history lesson, I guess. I mean, we've heard this over the years as well, where people say, well, Jesus was a migrant as well. I mean, it's all interesting, but it doesn't erase the fact that here in the United States, we have a border. We are a sovereign nation. We elect our representatives in Congress who pass laws, and those laws need to be enforced. And so, you know, the mayor can pontificate and give a history lesson to all New Yorkers if he wants to, but the law is the law. And as long as it's there, ICE is going to enforce it. And that's what the American people, the majority of the American people want. There's a new polling out, super majority, want ICE to do their job in a safe setting.
And I think accountability, too. A reckoning may be coming when it comes to some of the elected officials. Breaking today, we saw Chairman James Comer, Chad, request the financial records from companies linked to Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's husband, saying that financial disclosures forms filed by your wife show companies linked to you went from being worth as much as $51,000 in 2023 to $30 million. In 2024, Comer says this sudden jump in value raises concerns that unknown individuals may be investing to gain influence with your wife. As they say, follow the money. What type of exposure for Ilhan Omar?
Well, I think it's significant, you know, whether it's that type of exposure or the fraud that's going on in her home city and state is also being looked at and seeing if there's any ties to there as well. I think her whole story, her whole background, I know DHS and the Trump administration is probably looking into, is there any immigration fraud as well on how she came here to the United States and the marriages that she's had to stay here in the United States. So there's a lot to unpack here because none of it makes sense. None of it is passing the smell test. And I think a lot more investigation needs to occur.
Chad Wolf, always a pleasure. Great to have you on a Friday. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks.
The fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
Oh, it's an infamous and callous moment we all remember. Then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton asked about the 2012 attack on the U.S. mission in Benghazi that left 4 Americans dead. President Trump today proving it does make a difference. We saw Attorney General Pam Bondi today announcing the arrest of one of the architects of the attack. The attack, they say, was allegedly carried out by Zubair al-Bakush, the 3rd Islamic extremist arrested in connection to the assault, and he arrived at Andrews Air Force Base 3 a.m. this morning. Here is Attorney General Bondi.
He'll face charges related to murder, terrorism, arson, among others. Let this case serve as a reminder. If you commit a crime against the American people, anywhere in this world, President Trump's Justice Department will find you. It might not happen overnight, but it will happen. You can run, but you cannot hide.
Marshal Billingslea, a former special presidential envoy for arms control in the State Department and also former official with the Treasury, joins us now. It's good to see you, Marshal. We know that al-Bakush is a member of al-Qaeda. It's been 14 years since this attack. Today, a major message. What do you think it signals to the rest of the world who is watching?
It signals that we will hold to account those who kill Americans. And even if it takes a decade or 14 years, eventually we will bring them to justice. So this is a fantastic day. It's a significant advance in justice for the families of Ambassador Chris Stevens and the 3 other Americans who lost their lives in the September 11 attack on the Benghazi compound. And I think enormous credit is due to Kash Patel and the FBI for arranging this rendition.
All right, so you and I are talking here as Rob Schmitt is actually on the ground. He's in Venezuela. I want to play a little bit of when I spoke to him earlier today alongside Newsmax CEO Chris Ruddy.
We're here in the shadow of the great monument to Simon Bolivar, the great liberator. It's right up here. Right, yeah. The great liberator of Latin America, and he's a hero, right? Yeah. We now have a new great liberator, Donald Trump, right? President Trump, almost like miraculously, overthrew a regime. He did it without an invasion, just one military strike, boom, it was done. You and I have been talking to people here across the plaza and across the country. They're really excited about what President Trump is doing.
Straight from the ground there, Rob will be sharing his stories with locals. So when you hear that, talk to us, because there's been so much criticism of some. When are you going to have elections? What is happening? The progress, slow but steady. And we'll get into a big capture in just a moment. But your first reaction to that?
Well, I think the analogy to Simon Bolivar is a good one. President Trump has started the process of restoring democracy in Venezuela. And he's made, as your CEO pointed out, he's been able to do this without boots on the ground. He has brought Maduro and Celia Flores to justice. A number of others will be coming to justice soon enough. But this is significant advances. I think it's fine to talk about a future of elections. That's what we ultimately want to see. But the Trump administration is approaching this in a very measured and deliberate way to ensure domestic stability while they systematically remove the Cartel de los Sols from power.
I'm tight on time, but I just want to mention a person by the name of Alex Saab, who Biden let go from U.S. custody in a prisoner swap. He's now back in custody. A signal of more cooperation with this interim government. Your final thoughts, Marshal?
It's a big deal. You and I have talked about Alex Saab in the past. He is the bagman for Maduro. The fact that he's under arrest in Venezuela and hopefully soon to be extradited to the U.S. should leave Maduro cold and sweating, because he knows where all the money is.
Great to have you, Marshal Billingslea. And again, we'll be watching Rob's reports from Venezuela. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
I will too, absolutely. Thank you, Bianca.
You bet. Don't go anywhere. We're back with the latest on the search for Nancy Guthrie. It is day 6. More information, though, is breaking on the investigation. Artel Cueto in Arizona will join us here next.
Federal agencies urge every family to have an emergency radio. During any disaster, electrical power may get cut. The emergency radio gives you the vital information you need. Newsmax wants you to have the Dynamo Emergency Band Radio. It doesn't need batteries and works in any emergencies. It retails for $30. You can get it with the free offer. Call or go online and get the emergency radio today. Your life may depend on it.
Just in time for our country's big celebration, the Kids Guide to America's 250th birthday is here, and it's free. Give your kids this epic story of freedom, heroes, and fireworks. Get it at freeusagift.com. That's freeusagift.com.
Where's your pain?
Right here. Both knees.
Take on the pain with CopperFit Dual Action. Hyper advanced compression sleeves powered by LumaCore. Blue infrared fibers woven into compression fabric. Increase circulation to reduce inflammation for faster recovery and pain relief.
It's more than just a compression sleeve, and it's really cool that CopperFit was the one to create it.
I'm pain-free. The swelling isn't there.
It's working for me. It's going to work for you.
Get yours at Walgreens near the pharmacy.
1 in 4 taxpayers was a victim of identity theft.
We're not just tax-paying Americans.
We're fraud-paying Americans.
And we're not paying anymore.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back.
As a neurologist, my patients are often concerned with age-related memory decline. I recommend Cunol Brain Health with 2 powerful, high-absorption ingredients clinically shown to improve memory, focus, attention, and more. Cunol, the brand I trust.
What are you doing? We need to save time.
There.
What just happened?
I just saved time. By buying a car in Carvana. It was all online. Got pre-qualified instantly. Great terms. Save time and buy your car in Carvana.
We're now 6 days into the search for Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy. The 84-year-old last seen Saturday night being dropped off at her home by family around 9:30 p.m. There are no suspects, no persons of interest at this time, but the FBI was able to confirm that blood found on Nancy's porch was a DNA match to her. We are also now learning that the FBI is aware tonight of a new message regarding Nancy, and they are inspecting the information for its authenticity. All of this comes just days after several news outlets received an alleged ransom note. The note included 2 deadlines. Now, the first deadline has passed. It was 5 p.m. yesterday, dealing with the kidnappers' demands. The second one, though, having more to do with consequences if they don't get what they want. That second deadline is this upcoming Monday. Now, we also saw Savannah Guthrie's brother, Cameron, sharing a video on Instagram yesterday, pleading again for his mother's release.
This is Cameron Guthrie. I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
Pima County Sheriff's Department also has announced today that there are no upcoming press briefings scheduled, as there has been no new information about the case since the last briefing. I'm pleased to bring in Art Del Cueto, Border Security Advisor. He has been on the ground in Tucson helping with the search. So here we are now, day 6, Art. Heartbreaking. Another video from the brother, but no contact from whomever is out there. What do you make of the new break in this new potential piece of information that the FBI is looking at about new information on Nancy and the fact she is alive somewhere, most likely?
Well, we're going to have to wait and see what this new information is. Some are reporting that this second letter that they just received, it actually talks about some details of the first one to try to show its validity. So we're just going to have to. It's a horrible situation, Bianca. We're just going to have to wait and see what comes out of it. I know that the FBI is on the case as well. I don't expect another press conference until more news breaks, or there's something that they really want to relay a message out to this particular person that is sending these letters. It's frustrating because it's just like you said. Look, she's been missing since Sunday. Or we could say Saturday night, but the timeline's not very clear. However, they have expressed very clearly that she is under medication and she needs this medication to continue surviving. Now we're going on several days where she has either not received the medication or she has. Mm-hmm. Of course, the proximity to the border has a lot to it because a lot of times people are able to get medication just by going south, or even some people here in Tucson will sell that medication. Right. But again, it's a very frustrating situation. I'm glad FBI is on board because they have more resources, and that's what they need, resources.
Have announced, and they also announced that $50,000 reward. So when we hear things like putting together potential digital footprints, we looked at that timeline. There is obviously cell towers they can look at, potential of reports of other vehicles, other cameras in the area. What do you think could be the break that they are looking for with all of this massive search happening and massive information that's coming in? Hopefully something from the public, but remains to be seen.
Well, I would hope that they would be able to find some kind of forensic attachment to an IP address on how they're sending these messages. But at the end, what they're going to have to do is rely on somebody that may have seen something, or that there is a break when they try to find her or they release her. That's what it's going to come down to. The way the cell towers work out here in Arizona is you either get a hit on a Tower 1 or Tower 2. Tower 2 tells you and pinpoints you the location of the person using the cell phone. However, if it's a stage 1, you're not going to get the exact location. It's going to be a huge area of where that phone may have been utilized.
As we know, all resources are on this. Artel Cueto, good to have you with us, and we certainly hope that there is some major developments and in no short time for that family. Thanks, Art.
Thank you, Bianca.
Dr. Michael Savage, host of Savage Nation here, believes the Nancy Guthrie investigation is getting too much press. Dr. Savage put this poll out on X, ranking the story and how important that is with all the news going on. And Dr. Savage, it's good to have you here. You see the numbers are in. It's not really ranking as the highest, but there is a lot of intrigue as well. Talk to us. The votes do seem unanimous, but still a lot of play on this case.
Well, Bianca, let me start by saying, of course, we have sympathy for this poor missing grandmother. I'm the same age. If I were missing, I'd want people to be worried about where I was as well. But when you rank it with other world events, you have to ask yourself, how did the story of a missing grandmother take over the news for 3 or 4 days? So I did the poll on X, mass hysteria, rank which story should be most important. Missing 84-year-old grandma, 25,000 dead protesters in Iran, maybe more, 1 million dead in the Russia-Ukraine war, billions stolen by Somalis, and the people voted, at least on my site, and they said, how about the Somali fraud? Where'd that story go? You know, or the protesters in Iran where we said we have your back, and there's now 25 to 50,000 dead Iranians. And, of course, the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, which Donald Trump has been desperately trying to stop and can't stop it, but there's 1 million dead people. I think the people need to get refocused. And years ago, Bianca, I wrote this book in 2018 called Stop Mass Hysteria. As much as I have sympathy for this poor woman, I don't think it ranks as the #1 story in the world, which should be dominating the news cycle here in America. And I think this is part of a mass hysteria being fed by some powers that I don't understand what they're trying to cover up. Where's this coming from?
Yeah, I mean,
again, not,
there is
not diminishing the woman's, not diminishing the plight of this poor woman, right?
Understand. Yeah, understand. I mean, it's sensitive in so many ways, but as you mentioned, the world has a lot also happening. Our final thoughts, though, as you look sort of to the fraud, we just had that story break today. They're going to be looking into Ilhan Omar and all her money. It does seem like the problems are mounting and not going away for those in Minneapolis. And we'll see, Michael, many other states with the same type of fraud.
Bianca, the day they take Ilhan Omar out in handcuffs is the day Americans will raise their flags and shout for thank God, because this woman not only is robbing America, in my estimation, we all know there's a lot of corruption in Congress. She's not the only one. That's a given. But she hates America and goes out of her way to spit on us and spit on our flag and spit on our culture. She not only rips us off, but spits in our face. She's almost begging to be arrested.
We'll see where it goes. Dr. Michael Savage, it's good to have you with us this Friday. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me, Bianca.
All right, so despite many football players not being able to name a single Bad Bunny song, The View's Sunny host and says you are racist for not wanting to watch him at halftime. That's next.
It is so very racist.
I'm Michael Savage, and I was conservative before conservative was cool. Do you realize how crazy the liberals in this country have become? I do. You want to get me started today? I'll get started. Watch Michael Savage and the Savage Nation every Sunday night.
A heart attack? Do they have life insurance?
No.
But we have life insurance. John.
I'm trying to find something we can afford.
Fortunately, in only a few minutes, SelectQuote found John a $500,000 policy for only $29 a month. And his wife Anne a $500,000 policy for only $21 a month. Go to SelectQuote.com now and get the insurance your family needs
at a price you can afford. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Whether it's care before or after school, or a sitter for date night, you don't have to hire just anyone. You can find a background-checked caregiver who's the right fit for you. Join now and find care at care.com.
From the sacred soils of the Holy Land, biblical beauty harnesses biblical botanicals. Feel Jerusalem's olive oil that nourished the temple's flame. Breathe cedar wood from Israel's forests. Anoint yourself with frankincense and myrrh resins, oils worn by Queen Esther before the king. Biblical beauty's heavenly formulas soothe the soul, creating sacred communion with the divine.
This beautiful set of body oil, face serum, and anointing oil is regularly $99. For a special TV offer, get the Holy Trio set for $75 or 4 easy payments of $18.75, 60-day money-back guarantee. And for a limited time, get 2 for $125. Call 1-844-HOLY-OIL. That's 1-844-465-9645.
Don't kibble your dog.
Oh, hey, Dr. Marty.
Hey, Bat.
But what's wrong with this? It's premium stuff.
Let's check it out. It's still kibble, which means it's ultra-processed at extremely high temperatures that destroy the nutrients in the food. But at Dr. Marty, we gently freeze-dried premium meats, fruit, and vegetables, locking in their nutrients.
Never kibbled.
You got it, kid, and they're gonna love it.
With less burning, itching, and pain from moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, imagine being a million miles away. With Tremfya, clearer skin is possible. Most people saw 100% clear skin that stayed clear, even at 5 years. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Ask your doctor about Tremfya.
Eyes out. We're not savage, we're not animals, we're not aliens, we are humans, and we are Americans.
The big game is this Sunday, and that guy, Bad Bunny, is performing at halftime, reportedly in a dress to honor LGBTQ icons. But woke NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell says not to worry, Bad Bunny's performance will unite the people.
This platform is used to unite people and to be able to bring people together. I think Bad Bunny understands that, and I think he'll have a great performance.
Got it. So all of Bad Bunny's songs are also in Spanish, and while hosting SNL back in October, he told the audience that they'd have 4 months to learn Spanish before this upcoming halftime performance. But now fast forward to this week, and Bad Bunny, wearing a horned beanie, says, actually, scratch that. Let's just have some fun.
I just want people to have fun. People only have to worry about dance. I know that I told them that they had 4 months to learn Spanish. They don't even have to learn Spanish.
Okay. And there is another choice. Turning Point USA is holding an all-American counter halftime show. Performers include Kid Rock, Brantley Gilbert, Lee Brice, and Gabby Barrett. And just know, if you're someone who is choosing to watch TPUSA at halftime over woke Bad Bunny, The View's Sunny Hostin says you're racist.
It is so very racist what is happening in this country about Bad Bunny. Let's just call a thing a thing. Let's call a thing a thing. It's just racism, pure and simple.
Yeah, how could you not want to watch the Bad Bunny? I mean, don't you know, folks, he's historic. Well, at least according to Al Roker.
Bad Bunny making history this weekend as the first male Latino artist to headline the NFL Super Bowl halftime show.
It's historic. All right, so that must mean all the football players really love this guy, right? Well, it turns out that many don't even know who he is. One player told the New York Times sports section, "I don't even know who Bad Bunny is." What? He doesn't know the Bad Bunny? That can't possibly be true. The New York Times is fake news. Maybe the player was misquoted. Well, let's hear directly from the players' mouths.
Can you name one Bad Bunny song?
Y'all hit me with all these Bad Bunny questions. I can't. I'm sorry. It was like, Mamacita, okay, I cannot. I can't. No. I cannot.
Mi pregunta. I got a couple of his songs downloaded.
All right. They don't really know who Bad Bunny is. But come on, maybe they're just asking the wrong guys in the wrong sport. Bad Bunny's really big among basketball players, right? Kevin Durant.
Well enough to like dance to Bad Bunny halftime?
I haven't listened to Bad Bunny before.
Is anybody actually a fan of this guy? Or does anyone even know who he is? The young athletes have never heard of him. But Bloomberg's 67-year-old Ronald Brownstein sure has. In fact, he says from in front of his bookshelf that Bad Bunny's performance could underscore the threat that Trump is posing to Latinos.
Bad Bunny has been very clear throughout the Trump presidency about the threat he believes the president is posing to the Latino community in the U.S. The halftime show at the Super Bowl could be a moment that really underscores this divergence.
Oh, he's got the pulse of the people, right? I am so pleased to welcome in Jillian Michaels, host of the Keeping It Real podcast, and former NFL player Jack Brewer. Welcome in. Jillian, I'm going to ask you first off, what halftime show will you be watching?
I'm actually, thank God I don't have to answer this because I'm going to be on a plane to New York for work. So I'm going to miss the entire thing. I know. But my thought on this, though, is this follows. I think the reason people are upset about Bad Bunny is because he's been very political and he's made statements like, I'm not going to perform in the mainland U.S. because of ICE out at the Grammys. I want to play music for my people and my culture. And it's like, oh, well, now that there's a stage, the biggest stage in the world, arguably, now you're going to play in the mainland U.S. and we should all just have fun. I appreciate that he's mitigating the severity of his political positions of everybody needs to learn Spanish. But I think there's a reason people are offended, and it's because of everything that has happened up till now.
All right. Well, the NFL is so woke. We know that. I want to play a little bit more of Commissioner Goodell about the backlash, Jack, and then talk about that and a third option that you're offering all folks in America.
I think we need to continue to make progress. And I believe that. I believe diversity is good for us. I think we have become a more diverse league across every platform, including coaching. But we still have more work to do. There's got to be more steps. So we're reevaluating everything we're doing.
So that was his response to the fact that no black head coaches were hired this year. Pick up on that and also give us the exciting news about what you have planned for halftime.
Yeah, it's always diversity, but what he's really saying is that he wants everyone to be woke. Instead of talking about true diversity, which is embracing people, not just of all ethnicities, but all ways of thought. All right. And so to be able to talk about a guy in dresses going in front of young kids at that halftime of the Super Bowl, that's the reason why no players know who he is because we won't let our sons and daughters watch him. We don't. Most NFL players do not want their boys watching some man in a dress and with fingernails. And so that's just that's the bottom line. And so that's not diversity, right? That's lunacy. And so I think there's a big difference in that. And to Bad Bunny's comments on the United States of America and on ICE and on immigration, if you go to any Latin American country, and I've been to a lot of all throughout Latin America.
Yes.
If you violate their laws, they're going to lock you up. And I don't care where you're going throughout Central America, they're going to lock you up. And so that is what Latins do too. And I think he's lost reality of that.
Yeah, that's what they do. All right, and I want to tell folks you are offering prayer during halftime so people can follow you and check that out because that really is going to unite people. Jillian, you inspire so many people, especially women, with health, with fitness. There's an interesting shift. This caught my attention. Wall Street Journal today reporting that the ads are a bit different this year in the Super Bowl. They're going to talk about health screenings, weight loss meds, better for you beverages. You know, I know everyone will be watching these while they're probably eating some, you know, classic junk food for the game. But there is a shift. I mean, how big of a win for Maha is this, Jillian?
Well, I can't speak to weight loss drug ads as a win for Maha, but there is an actual Maha ad that has Mike Tyson in it, and that's pretty cool. So I'm excited about that one. They're driving you to, I believe it's healthyfood.gov. I can't remember the exact website. I know about it. I just heard about it. Haven't seen it yet. So that's good. You know, everybody loves Mike. I love Mike. I hope everybody watching loves Mike. And if he's encouraging people to eat better when we're watching ads for junk food and fast food, that's a step in the right direction.
I think so, too. Jillian Michaels, Jack Brewer, so good to have you. And I know it's going to be exciting either way on the field. Thanks, guys.
God bless
Thank you.
God bless. Thanks. We've been looking at this video, and everyone wants to know, is Kamala Harris running for president again in 2028 with this reboot? What would be her strategy to target young voters? And why does she think she'd be successful this time around? Dick Morris, Matt Schlapp, next.
Hi, I'm Charlotte McBride. I love working at Newsmax because every day we bring you honest reporting with real conversations, no spin. We're not telling you how to think, we're just giving you the facts and letting you decide what's best for you and your family.
I lost 110 pounds. You couldn't tell it all because of my excess skin. Sono Bello changed that in one visit.
Introducing the new Lift EX, the just one visit total body transformation everyone is talking about.
I am super happy with my results.
I decided to give Sono Bello a try. Look at me, I have a silhouette. You can see my waist.
Lift EX is Sono Bello's breakthrough 360-degree body lift alternative. Our body contouring experts sculpt, tighten, and lift your stomach, waist, thighs, and backside, all in just one visit with less downtime.
Sono Bello targeted the areas diet exercise could not do. I found me again.
Sono Bello has over 50,000 five-star reviews, and Lift EX is exclusively available at Sono Bello, America's #1 cosmetic surgery specialist. Book your free, personalized consultation today. Easy monthly plans make your best body more affordable than ever.
This year is my year thanks to Sono Bello.
Call Sono Bello for your free consultation today.
In 2024, the IRS flagged nearly 2 million tax returns for possible identity fraud.
Someone stole my Social Security number and filed a tax return in my name, and I'm a CPA.
Your tax forms have all the personal information needed to commit identity theft, and you're not the only one with a copy, which makes you vulnerable. Only LifeLock alerts you to the widest volume of threats others could miss. And if your identity is stolen, a U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it, guaranteed. Enroll now.
Total Beats, America's best-selling Beats brand, is available at Walmart. Total Beats blood pressure support soft chews contain a key ingredient clinically shown to deliver 2 times better blood pressure support. Take control of your health. Head to Walmart and get Total Beats blood pressure support soft chews today.
It all started in 2022 when the Biden administration weaponized the U.S. dollar and imposed sanctions upon Russia. Central banks around the globe moved out of dollar-denominated assets and into gold. Jamie Dimon said gold could easily go to $5,000 or $10,000 an ounce. Gold recently surpassed its inflation-adjusted all-time high. Silver's inflation-adjusted all-time high is $209 an ounce.
Give Patriot Gold Group a call at 1-800-778-4156.
Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated gold and silver dealer nationwide, home of the No Fee for Life IRA. See how easy it is to protect your IRA with physical gold and silver.
Call now, 1-800-778-4156.
This President's Day, Pure Talk is honoring Lincoln and Jackson by offering unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month. Meanwhile, Big Wireless is acting like it's Ben Franklin Day, charging families hundreds of dollars for the same 5G service. What's up with that? Benjamin Franklin wasn't even a president. Stop paying Big Wireless big money for the same service and hang on to your Benjamins by switching to an American wireless company that is truly unprecedented. Pure Talk.
I have good news. So Kamala HQ is turning into headquarters, and it's where you can go online to get basically the latest of what's going on, and also to meet and revisit with some of our great, courageous leaders. I'm really excited about it. So stay engaged, and I'll see you out there.
Out there. Wow. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Bianca de Garza in for Rob this evening, who's on assignment in Venezuela. Look out, Gavin Newsom, an equally as incompetent Democrat from California, appears to be vying for a 2028 presidential campaign. Call it the Kamala comeback, relaunching her old Kamala HQ social media account in an effort to bolster support among young people. Here to react, CPAC Chairman Matt Schlapp. Matt, welcome in on a Friday night. She's still got the hand gestures. I don't want to hear a cackle. So, of course, this is a whole brand new Kamala reboot. What's going on in her mind? Or should I say, how big is her ego?
You know, I love it. I just have to say I'm rooting her on. I'd like to send her a campaign contribution. I'd like to see her run again. It'd be great for all of us. She's a great financial manager, lost millions of dollars giving him to Hollywood celebrities who never actually even really endorsed her. I think what this shows is the Democratic Party, it's going to be a wide open contest in 2028. And why not Kamala Harris? There's not an inevitable candidate. And, you know, she makes just about as much sense as any of them.
I know. And that's sort of the pulse that you get when you talk to some Republicans. They say, just let her go for it. Why not? The bench that the Republicans have versus Democrats, it'll be quite entertaining to watch Kamala back out there with her word salads. I want to get your take on what's happening in New Jersey. There's this special election to fill Mike and Cheryl's vacant seat in the House. AOC and Bernie Sanders have backed this progressive candidate, Ana Lilia Mejia. There's a narrow lead in a tight race, though, over former Congressman Tom Malinowski. But NBC News is calling this an anti-establishment earthquake within the Democratic Party. What do you think this special election signifies for the future of the Democrat Party?
Well, we're having this, Bianca, we're having this whole question about voter ID, and Republicans in the Senate are saying we need to pass basically a federal mandate for voter ID. And, you know, I always wondered when we'd get to a point where a Democratic contest was so close that even Democrats would start to ask themselves, are we sure all these ballots are legal? Like you'll hear in New Jersey that even this progressive candidate said every ballot must be counted. But of course, that's completely wrong. Every legal ballot should be counted. And there's this whole question of, will they have date stamps that show that people voted before or on Election Day? And in a lot of these states, you can actually vote after Election Day because they don't check or require a date stamp on those ballots. So this question about America, just so everyone knows, we do CPACs in 12 countries. We're the only country in the world that has such a flabby process when it comes to voting. And so it would be very interesting. Yeah. They said there's thousands of votes still out. My guess is it benefits the wacky, woke progressive with ballots that are insecure because it helps the whole liberal left-wing machine who put these ballots in the system. So we'll see what happens. But I'd love it Democrats to start to realize not having good election laws can actually hurt their preferred candidate too.
Yeah, how about that? All right, Matt, great to have you. Yeah, there's a lot talking points with the SAVE Act as well. Thank you so much for stopping by on a Friday. This comment, thank you, fear-mongering about the SAVE Act is pretty wild. How to have safe and secure elections. You think everyone would want that, but not so much. And also a bit of a slam towards women if you really take a closer look. This is coming up next on News from the Left.
It might violate the 19th Amendment, which gives women the right to vote. A heart attack? Do they have life insurance?
No.
But we have life insurance. John.
I'm trying to find something we can afford.
Fortunately, in only a few minutes, SelectQuote found John a $500,000 policy for only $29 a month. And his wife Anne a $500,000 policy for only $21 a month. Go to SelectQuote.com now and get the insurance your family needs
At a price you can afford. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
My heart has experienced life-changing wins, losses, and countless miles. To keep living at my speed, I trust Cunol CoQ10. CoQ10 is the #1 cardiologist-recommended supplement for heart health. Cunol, the brand I trust.
If you're over 40 and taking probiotics, stop. Americans are choking down fistfuls of probiotics, yet they're still feeling sicker and sicker and fatter and fatter. I'm Dr. Stephen Gundry, and that's why I created BioComplete 3. Thousands have used it. It's a major part of how I lost 70 pounds and feel 20 years younger. For a limited time, you can try BioComplete 3 risk-free for 90 days. Go to GundryMD.com/TV.
Some wireless companies say that they stand for something. What exactly do they stand for, and why won't they say it out loud? Let me tell you what Patriot Mobile stands for. They stand for the lives of the unborn. They stand for the Second Amendment and the right to protect yourself and your family. They stand for our veterans and first responders who sacrifice so much for our freedom. Make the switch to Patriot Mobile today and support a company that doesn't just say they stand for something, but one that stands for the things that matter the most.
Just in time for our country's big celebration, the Kids Guide to America's 250th birthday is here, and it's free. Give your kids this epic story of freedom, heroes, and fireworks. Get it at freeusagift.com. That's freeusagift.com.
Ready for relief? I just want relief. I needed relief.
You just want relief. Like you just want it to go away.
You need the Signal Relief Patch.
We all hurt, whether it's our neck, back, knees, or shoulders. Pain keeps you from doing the things that matter most. In a recent study, 85% of people felt relief.
As a surgeon, I put it on, and I can't explain why it works. I can just tell you, it does work.
Some people think this is just in my head, but I know that it works. It's working.
The Signal Relief Patch for me offered up independence.
The Signal Relief Patch for me actually means pain relief.
With a Signal Patch, I've been able to sleep, walk, and work.
Relief. That's what the Signal Patch gave me.
It was phenomenal. Why aren't more people trying this?
Join the thousands who have experienced relief, and it comes with a money-back guarantee. Get your patch today.
Time now for news from the left. Republicans are demanding a 50 threshold vote in the Senate to pass the SAVE Act, which would require proof of citizenship to vote, mandate states to verify citizenship of voters, and require removal of non-citizens from voter rolls. But Democrats are losing their minds over this, terrified of a secure election in this country. And here's how they have been fear-mongering over the voter ID legislation. Watch.
The SAVE Act in and of itself is a terrible piece of legislation. His options to steal the election are going to continue to narrow.
The real agenda here is to exploit immigrants in their desire to rig the election this November and hold on to power.
It might violate the 19th Amendment, which gives women the right to vote.
It's Jim Crow 2.0. This is vicious and nasty. And I said to our Republican colleagues, it will not pass the Senate.
Jim Crow 2.0, violating a women's right to vote. You heard them. Chuck, that's not what the SAVE Act does. Sounds racist, if you ask me. Democrats, though, love using race to stop us from mandating secure elections the way every other first world nation on the planet does. Take a look at how many countries have voter ID. Most of these countries a lot smaller than ours. Larry Elder, national syndicated talk radio host, joining me now. Larry, great to see you on a Friday. How do you feel when Chuck Schumer is comparing the SAVE Act to Jim Crow 2.0?
What he's really saying is black people are too stupid to be able to figure out how to acquire
photo voter ID. He also ignores the fact that poll after poll for years has shown that Black people support voter ID almost as much as white people do. So it's very, very condescending. At least he didn't say it's worse than Jim Crow, it's Jim Eagle, which is what Joe Biden used to say. The whole thing is basically to be social justice warriors for Black people because Black people are frankly too stupid to be able to figure out how to navigate their own lives. Yeah. It's extremely insulting, condescending, and dare I say, racist.
Yes, of course. And Raskin with the women thing, it's women who get married, it's all that paperwork, so confusing. We couldn't never figure that out, right? Except we're raising families and running households. Come on, give me a break. All right, I want to get your reaction to this. Switching gears to two Democratic lawmakers, Alyssa Slotkin and Chrissy Houlihan. They were in the now infamous Seditious Six video, urging members not to follow illegal orders from President Trump. But no illegal orders were given. But now they are both refusing, Larry, to comply with investigation by the DOJ. Watch this.
I want to update you on the Department of Justice's request for me to submit to a voluntary interview about a video my colleagues and I released last fall. I will not be doing that.
I will not be complying with their inquiries and sitting down for an interview based on a 90-second video I filmed. But this is about more than just my case. It's about the ability to speak your mind and have freedom from fear.
I was just waiting for the I am above the law, comment there to button it up. But Larry, at this point, they're almost asking to be arrested. What's your reaction to this defiance?
Well, it was a request. It is voluntary, so they don't have to comply with it. The question is the DOJ going to take it up another notch and subpoena them? And then if they do so, will they defy the subpoena and end up going to jail the way Peter Navarro did and Steve Bannon? That's really what the issue is. Look, the whole thing was offensive to me. I've never served. I commend people who did serve. And the idea that they have to be reminded that they should not follow an unlawful order was really just a shot against Donald Trump, implying, as you pointed out, that Donald Trump was issuing unlawful orders, when in fact, no one could come up with an unlawful order that he issued. So it's just more Trump derangement syndrome.
It is. Let's see if they ratchet it up, though, again, as you clearly and astutely point out, and compel them. All right, I wanted one in California for your neck of the woods before we end tonight. Governor Gavin Newsom, 2028, of course, he's laser focused on that, but he's also apparently wanting to go after Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill, posting on X here that she plans to sue me because I won't extradite a doctor for providing an abortion. But look at this, go blank yourself. California will never help you criminalize health care. Seems very unprofessional, inappropriate. Your reaction?
Unprofessional, inappropriate. If Trump said something like that, of course, he'd be accused about being sexist. Oh. My reading of the Constitution and of the laws of this country is you cannot refuse to extradite somebody to another state if, in fact, the state has done all the procedures. If somebody, for example, sent a rifle to California in the mail, violating California laws, and Gavin Newsom wanted to prosecute that person, and that state refused to send the person to California, can you imagine? His hair gel would explode.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of that. Pretty flammable stuff. All right, Larry Elder, one of the sane ones out there in California. Always good to have you. Thanks so much for being with me here tonight.
You got it. My pleasure.
All right. When we come back, Rob is in Venezuela. Some incredible access, speaking to locals in Venezuela since the ousting of Nicolas Maduro, captured by the Trump administration. That's next.
You know Rob Finnerty. He's smart, bold, and stands strong for your values. Rob is fighting for you. Watch Finnerty weeknights only on Newsmax.
I'm Arthur Lee, inventor and CEO of LifeVac, but most importantly, I'm a dad first.
Over 10 years ago, I watched my dad design and build the first LifeVac in our garage. Now, that device has saved thousands of lives.
The LifeVac saved my life in 1-2 seconds.
It's a device that saved my son's life.
A choking accident can happen anywhere. Order your LifeVac now.
Don't wait another minute. A life might depend on it. Go to lifevac.net or call 877-543-3822.
Your data is like a single domino. The moment it's stolen, it starts a chain reaction that puts the information that guards your assets at risk. 1 in 3 Americans have been a victim of identity theft. Are you willing to risk it?
When I saw zeros on that screen as my bank account balance, I went to immediate panic.
$21,000 just gone.
I opened my account and $30,000 is missing. Like $30,000.
I have no idea what to do.
If your personal information is stolen, are you prepared to pick up the pieces alone? LifeLock is the leader in identity theft protection and restoration.
Once LifeLock got involved, everything changed.
With LifeLock, if your identity is stolen, they'll step in and fix it so you don't have to, guaranteed. Our highly trained U.S.-based restoration specialists contact institutions, dispute fraudulent charges, close compromised accounts, and even procure legal support far beyond the capabilities of your bank or credit card company.
LifeLock pursued this case further than I ever would have imagined.
If you call right now, you'll get LifeLock for just $9.99 a month for your first year. And as extra protection, all LifeLock memberships include the $1 Million Protection Package. Our members receive reimbursement for stolen funds and personal expenses, like lost wages, as well as coverage for lawyers and experts up to $3 million in total.
When the bank refused to reimburse my stolen money, the $1 Million Protection Package came through for me.
Our Restoration Guarantee and $1 Million Protection Package are included in all memberships with no additional fees.
I think it's natural to think that you can do this on your own. You can't. You need an expert in your corner.
Call 1-800-360-9220 and use promo code TV35 or go to lifelock.com/TV35 to join today.
This is the story of the one. The one knows that when the big game is days away, the unexpected can put everything on the line. But with a solid game plan and a teammate like Grainger that she can rely on to deliver the product she needs when she needs it, she's confident that she will always win the day. And her team will do the same. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Take it in, but don't look down. 'Cause I'm on top of the world. I'm on top of the world. I've been waiting this long to hold it.
Champions trust Cosequin, the #1 vet recommended retail joint health supplement brand and official joint health supplement of the Westminster Dog Show.
Finally tonight, Rob Schmitt is taking to the streets of Caracas, Venezuela, chatting with the locals about the changes in their country ever since Maduro was captured by the United States over a month ago. I want to play a little bit of Rob asking a local owner of a marketplace about what life has been like for him.
What happened a month ago was a pretty surreal thing. The United States came in and they took the leader of your country. What's life been like here in the month since that happened?
Well, to tell you the truth, everything has been the same. People here keep coming to work like before, buying their fruits, their meat, their vegetable, everything. Everything has been the same. We're optimistic for change for the new leader that we have right now with the Billingslea. We have confidence that she's doing a good job, and if she does what we see that she's doing right now, we think that we're going to have a great country.
You hear that? That's optimism. And you don't want to miss Rob's Venezuela trip. He'll have the full highlights Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on Newsmax. And I hope you can check out my show, Bianca Across the Nation, 12 p.m. Monday through Friday. Finnerty is next. Have a great weekend.